Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. It's the Film Threat Livecast. A big show today. We are talking Joker Folie, that's Joker 2, along with a lot of other movies. There are other movies playing in theaters, quite a few. We'll talk Frankie Freako, Devara Part 1, It's What's Inside on Netflix, VHS Beyond in theaters and coming to Shudder, Veteran 2, I, Executioner, White Bird, The Outrun, and I'm sure you've not heard of any of those movies, but Alan and I have seen them, and we will talk about them. Plus, your comments, questions, and concerns. I hear a lot of people have concerns. That's what I'm hearing. Lots of concerns. We'll get to it today on the show. Let's get Alan on here. Let's go. It's Friday. It never really works.
I'm really busy at the moment with Dr. Doom, but I'll say it. Alan.
For some reason.
Damn you, Alan. How dare you hide from Mr. Gore? Alan.
It's just.
Hey, Chris Gore, Mr. Ings said you treat him like a drill sergeant.
Yes, drill sergeant!
There he is.
Yeah, I'm glad the appeals court has allowed us to legally do those kind of memes again.
Right. Yeah, what's happening in California, man?
Yeah, the federal appeals court overturned Governor Newsom, and as of right now, we can still do deep fake memes.
Wow, what could you imagine if we got in legal trouble for doing like these goofy memes? I mean, most Leo Cody does a lot of these, along with Glenn Brown, our producer. But I think they're fun. I mean, here's another one we just got.
Thank you very much.
I can't believe there'd be a Chris Gore fan club after Wednesday, my meltdown. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, because everybody loves Angry Chris. That
right.
I mean, I don't know how we're not.
I don't like him.
I don't know how we're not at 140,000 subscribers at the moment.
Yeah, how are we not? No, 169,000.
Yeah, 69.
That's the goal before the end of the year. So there's a lot to talk about today, a lot of movies. I have a couple things I want to go over, but let's see who's here. You've got Daniel T. Floats Friday, balloons around the chat. MK Solid, everyone is still recovering from Wednesday's meltdown. Yes. Well, me being among them. Good morning, Davina Duckworth. Goober, member for 22 months. Wow, thanks for doing a birthday stream just for me. Yeah, well, let's celebrate that. I have something for you for your birthday. If you are in Los Angeles, I will be a featured speaker and moderator at the American Film Convention. That is kind of like a American film market. It's new. It's in Los Angeles, October 15th through 16th. Link is in the description for this. It's if you're a filmmaker looking for money, distribution, there are workshops. You can pitch your movie. I'll be there. I'm interviewing Wally Pfister, the cinematographer from the Dark Knight trilogy, among many other business people and actors. So I will be there, which is why we're going to do Hollywood on the Rocks earlier that day. Now, if you're a member of the channel, there is a link to get free tickets to the American Film Convention. There's a code. So go to the community tab for members. There is a code to get free passes to this event. Otherwise, if you're not a member, you can pay for it. And we're also doing a giveaway today. We've got codes for my penguin friend at the end of the show. First come, first serve. end of the show. So I love our members. I love they support us. So if you are in LA, you're interested in film, get tickets to the American Film Convention. Now they are free for a limited time. So I appreciate you, Goober.
Happy birthday.
Has Chris got his emails out of the way before the show? Says Winsome Heck. I need to clarify something. People didn't. The email I was dealing with was regarding our guest on the show. It was related to the show we were doing, and it was distracted by the publicist trying to make this thing happen or reschedule. As it is, we did it, but that was what the emails I was dealing with. So I should
have said that during the show.
I should have said that.
Yeah, I'll make it easy for you. You say, "Hey, I've got to deal with our guest this afternoon.
Right?
Can you take over the show for a moment?"
Mistakes were made, but no bigger mistake was made than these Batman Crocs. That purchase was a huge mistake. So apologies to the audience. Everything's fine. Alan and I are madly in love. Yeah. And I still have these Crocs.
Okay, so I think to make up for Wednesday.
Yeah, what do I do?
You're wearing those Crocs to Comic-Con.
No.
Yes.
Maybe on Saturday.
Should put in the chat, folks.
Let's do a poll. Should I wear the Crocs to Comic-Con?
I can already tell you the results of the poll.
No, we're democratic. We are democratic, Ellen. And Lord Thoth says, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, sign up as a member, get free passage to the American Film Convention, get a VOD code for my penguin friend after the show. Join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram, and go to shop.filmthreat.com where you can get, I was on Drinker's show yesterday, and he was enamored with the Jack Daniels style film threat. I was wearing that on Critical Drinker. I was on yesterday. We talked Joker too, but we've got all kinds, the election collection, Drinker's Choice capsule collection, and retro styles. Go to shop.filmthreat.com, pick up something for Halloween or just for fun. So there you go. And appreciate you, Lord Thoth. And appreciate everyone who didn't tune out. Here's the thing: as crazy as it was, that people kept watching.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
I know, because we all like train wrecks.
Yeah, it was a train wreck. Torviticus, wear the Crocs anytime you leave the house. Don't be a coward, Chris. Well, maybe Saturday at Comic-Con. Yeah, that should be my my penance there. So, hey, a real quick thing. Come on, no. And yeah, LA Comic-Con, if you are not, here's what I can tell you about LA Comic-Con. Alan and I are not doing any panels. We are not doing panels at LA Comic-Con. I have done 3 panels or more every year since this convention was called Stan Lee's Kamikaze, more than 10 years. I am not doing any panels. I am going to try to go to the Back to the Future reunion panel at 7:00
tonight. Yeah,
that is the one panel I want to go to. So look for me in line, and I'll be at the back of the line. I am going to try to make it. I'm not getting to the convention until I think 5 or 6, but I will meet you there, Alan, and let's try to go. Okay, let's try to go to that panel.
And then
they are going to videotape that panel and rerun it the next morning so everyone can see the panel. But you got to be in the room. That energy is great. So, yeah, I can't wait for that.
I just can't believe that LA Comic-Con dropped 3 diverse panels.
3 are, well, yeah, that's true. Our panels were diverse, but I looked at the panels that replaced Film Threat. There are a lot of like, I don't even want to say. You already know what I'm going to say. I guarantee they will be sparsely attended. But it is what it is. Now, I'm going to show you something here. Guess what? Batman has become the first superhero to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This is from my buddy John at Nerd Reactor. This is the video that he shot. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to play it here. But he was there. That's a lot of stuff happening. So Nerd Reactor is my friend John Wen's channel. He has been on Versus actually. So but it's very exciting. I didn't get to go, but I think it's cool. I as much as Hollywood Boulevard has become horrible. I mean, I was on Hollywood Boulevard earlier this week to see a film, and out in the open, a guy just urinating. But there it is, the Batman star. That's really cool. So that's neat to have a fictional character with as much cultural impact as Batman get a star. So I mean, it's Paul Dini right there. We saw Paul Dini. So a lot of people that are Jim Lee was there. There he is talking. Let's see what he has to say real quick. I'll turn up the audio here.
Been around for 85 years, finally gets a star on the Walk of Fame. It is a huge honor. I think it's a testament to the fact that he is a Hollywood icon. He is a global icon, and I think this just solidifies that fact. And so we're really thrilled to be able to celebrate Batman here on this amazing August day.
It was the character of Batman and Robin that created the opportunity for our television series that reached hundreds of millions of people a week. And now, finally, the character joins Adam West, Batman, who had a star, and myself. I got my star in 2020, and Bob Kane, the original creator, along with Bill Finger, got his star, and now the character has his star. It is complete.
About time. I think it's.
You're muted.
I think it's really cool. I like that. I like that Batman is a star. But I'll tell you, Hollywood Boulevard is not what it used to be. So I got to find out exactly where the star is. But thanks to John Wen, hopefully he doesn't copyright claim us for showing some of this video. I just want to but also, by the way, we did a story in Film Threat magazine in 1990. I want to say 1992 or 1992, where Tracy Lords was on the cover of the magazine, and we did an investigative report of how you can get a star on the Walk of Fame. You would not believe how easy it is. I think you need like 5,000 or 10,000 signatures, and need to give the city council 10 grand, and you need to be a group that volunteers to clean the star. So this is when Film Threat, before the D-Files, Alan.
Yes.
When Film Threat was in print, we did investigative stories, and we did a story on what it takes to get a star on the Walk of Fame. Oddly, you would not be surprised. Not that hard to get a star. So we tried to get Tracy Lord the star unsuccessfully. We could probably do that now. She's more popular.
So what was it? You couldn't get the signatures, or you couldn't get the...
It was signatures, the money, and whatnot, but we did walk through the process. And the cover of this issue of Film Threat is actually, it's Tracy Lords defacing the Walk of Fame and painting her name as her own star. So I don't know. I still get I love Hollywood history. I'm a member of the Academy Museum. I love to go to retrospective screenings of films, and so I still get I can show you where the Batcave is in Los Feliz. It's off Los Feliz Boulevard. It's an actual man-made cave, and it's a location. You can find it. So I've been.
I thought it was one of the tunnels for some reason.
It is. Well, it's a tunnel up a hike off Los Feliz Boulevard. I've been there. I've taken photos there.
Like it goes to Griffith, the observatory.
It's near that. It's near Griffith Park Observatory. So there you go.
Okay, I'm gonna say my money is the next superhero is Spider-Man.
Well, there you go. Oh, yep. You know what? I think you're right. Spider-Man is Spider-Man.
It's iconic Marvel.
And also is more popular licensing wise. We've got some comments here. We're going to do limited comments today because we have 8 films to review. But let's get through these comments and launch in with our
a lot of these
first
are
review.
quick ones. So
What's that?
a lot of them are quick ones.
Let's go.
Okay. Infamous for 699 Canadian. Chris, do you have any favorite films from Italian horror director Mario Bava, Dario Argento, or Lucio Fulci?
Zombie.
Thomas Pickett for 5.
That's the answer.
I know. All right, just be matter of fact about it. I wonder, giving a star to a fictional character is bad precedent. Basically, IP is getting a star. This is the Hollywood Walk of Fame, folks.
Yeah, well, you know what? You know what this is an indication of? I agree with you that this is that this sets a precedent, but real celebrities and stars are fading. So this makes sense. Like celebrities and stars aren't what they used to be. This makes business sense, and Hollywood Boulevard is a tourist attraction.
Yeah, and I think this is the biggest reason why they're giving it to Batman.
It's not an award. You pay them $75,000. It's marketing, not an award.
Yeah.
Now it is. I did this, to be clear, I did that story more than 30 years ago. The rules were different. It was $5,000 or $10,000. Now it's $75,000. So I hear you. Let's get through.
Yeah, but I think it's the Hollywood. I'm just saying the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, I believe, needs the money.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So Jim Lee and Stan Lee are related, right? No, they're not. Gorilla Biscuits. Patrick Lemire, I remember that issue. It's a lot of money. Mike Waite for 20. Read that, Alan.
Thank you. I have to disagree with both of you on J2. Joker 2. I enjoyed the movie. Chris, by the way, I've been staying away from YouTube and working on my 1967 Triumph Daytona 500. I just rebuilt the carburetor. Yeah. Thanks for my B-Day stream.
Hey, Mike, thank you so much. That's great. Hey, send me pictures or tag me on X. I'd love to see what it looks like. I had a 1972 Daytona 500.
And
So
I enjoyed the second half of Joker 2.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
But thank you, Mike, for your super chat. Appreciate that. And I want to see pics of your bike. Alan?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm destarring chats you haven't unstarred.
No, I can do that.
You're not doing it. That's the problem. Okay, Scott Christie Jones for £2. Name me a better superhero than Condor Man. Yeah, I had to review that.
Yes,
movie.
any superhero. So, and here are the results of our quick lightning poll. Should Chris wear the Bat Crocs to LA Comic-Con? Yes, 84%. No, 15%. I will, for members only, I will do a video of me wearing the Crocs to LA Comic-Con. Will that make people happy? Should I do that, Alan?
Yes.
All right. The people have spoken. The people have spoken. I will wear the Crocs to LA Comic-Con on Saturday. So there you go. I believe in a democratic, I believe in the will of the people, is what I'll say. So, and hey, Krizik gifted 10 Film Threat memberships. Go to our members section. I posted a video last night. Lots of videos there, including Alan's video of his trip to Catalina Island. Alan, tell us about
once I get it edited together, there's a lot of footage. I got to get it edited together when I have time and when I'm not at LA Comic-Con. So you get to, you're muted, by the way, but you get to just sit there and record people talking. I have to put together a travel video.
Well, I mean, you don't have to edit it that much, Alan. I like the Q&As because I want to watch them. So, yes. And people, I think I saw the movie Conclave with Ray Fiennes. It's from the director of All Quiet on the Western Front. It's the very next film. It's very good. We'll review it when it comes out in like 3 weeks. but I recorded a Q&A with him. Really interesting.
By
Okay.
the way, I'll be ducking out of Comic-Con on Saturday midway through to go to the Apprentice screening.
I am going with you.
Okay, there.
Okay, so we'll go together.
Yeah, we'll go together. We can take
great.
one
I'll
class.
meet you at LA Comic-Con in the morning, and then
Mhm.
we'll go to that. And then
Okay.
we'll go back to LA to hang out with everyone at the con.
Everyone, yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's start our first review here, but I want to give a reminder to people. To be clear, I am a straight man.
And I am too.
And I'm super straight. But
And I am
also
engaged in a heterosexual relationship.
Yeah, and we're both straight. We want to get that.
Yes, I'm in a heterosexual relationship.
I'm putting it out there.
I'm all on board with Bress.
That Alan and I are straight.
I stand with them and in between them.
It must be said. But let's get to our first review. We'll be getting to Joker later in the show, but we've got 8 films, and I've seen some of these movies. Alan has seen some movies. Both of us have seen some of these films, but this is one I have not seen. Alan,
Hold
if
on.
you would, I'm going
All
to
right.
stall here.
Yeah, stall for a second because I gotta get my notes out here.
All right, that's all good, man. It's all
Because
good.
we went out of order. Okay.
It's all
All
good,
right,
man.
Whitebird. Hey, Whitebird is one of Lionsgate's another Lionsgate movie. It comes from their Faith brand. It is supposedly the sequel to Wonder, but it's actually just a continuation of the story. It takes a different direction. Our antagonist in Wonder, the bully Julian, has been kicked out of school for his bullying. He is now in a new school where he keeps his head down, where he just tries to fit in and just be normal and not be noticed. And then he goes home one day. His parents are gone. They went off to some party, and left is his grandmother, who he forgot was going to visit. Grandmother is played by Helen Mirren. And when he talks about his day, he just goes off, I'm just trying to get through the day. And she says, well, you need to be better than that. And she tells him her story when she was a young girl in France, a Jewish girl. And at this time, the Nazis were just starting to take over France and start rounding up the Jewish citizens of France. And they go to her school, and they began rounding up, and she escapes. And almost getting caught, she is saved by a young man, Julian, who is disabled, has trouble walking because of polio, and he decides that he's going to take her in and basically hide her from the Nazis. And they hide her in the family barn, Julian and his parents, mother played by Gillian Anderson. And this is, I'll say this, there are a lot of Holocaust movies. And this is another Holocaust movie.
Is it like Diary of Anne Frank slightly? I sense shades of that.
Slightly. I mean, there are parallels. Let's just put it that way. But again, Holocaust movies. And, I guess we keep these stories out there. We retell these stories to get the stories out to a new generation, because quite frankly, the stories are important, but there are a lot of these stories. Just one thing, it takes place in France, but everyone has British accents, and Helen Mirren kind of slips in and out of her French and British accent. Now, as much as I say that we've seen a lot of these movies, I will say that there are moments that kind of resonate to today. First of all, this idea that neighbors are basically becoming Nazi sympathizers and outing their Jewish neighbors. These the Jews in the city in France are not able to go into stores and restaurants because their kind isn't wanted. Have we heard this story recently? And so I think it's weird how these elements of those stories kind of resonate more today than I have seen it in the past. And but I think, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I'll tell you. So the movie points out a couple things. One is the idea that of a community turning on its own. and how you get that, and also the story itself. It's more than just kind of telling Helen Mirren's story. Her name is I got the notes. I forget the character's name, but the story is really about a higher calling that we all have. For Julian, he just wants to keep his head down, and the story that his grandmother is trying to tell him is, you were made to be better than that. We as people are not allowed to just sit back and let life go by, but there's a higher calling. There are people who need us to stand up for them, and that we need to do. That's kind of what this story does. But again, we've seen it, but I think this is a good story. If you want to take your kid to a mild Holocaust type story, this is probably a good one to take them to. And I'll say this, Lionsgate is failing, but I think it's their faith movies that are the only ones that are succeeding. And I think this is a good family film.
So do you recommend
the subject matter?
Do you recommend it?
I recommend it. I'll give it a 7.
I remember reading The Diary of Anne Frank as a kid, and it really affected me. I mean, and it was horrifying to learn that, she was later killed. And that book had a profound effect on me as a kid. But the story sounds very, similar to that.
Yeah.
But
I'll just say to your comment, my daughter last year, she must have had a bass teacher, because one of the assignments was Elie Wiesel's Night. And my daughter had to read that, and I started reading it with her, and that is a haunting book. Just how when the Nazis took over, how subversive it was, and how fast it was, and how everyone was caught off guard, even though people were warning them, beware the Nazis, get out, basically they were saying, and people just stayed behind. And and you just feel like maybe history may repeat itself one day.
Yeah, it was sad. It's something that relates. But Elon Musk put a tweet out about telling people you're voting for Trump or you're Republican in California, and he talked about the pushback and reaction he got. I mean, you even said we've been working together 7 years on Film Threat together. I mean, you kept getting bummed. You started as a writer and then became the editor, but saying we've known each other professionally working together 7 years. And you admitted to me one time we were in a car going to a screening or something, and you were afraid. What was it? You tell it from your side.
It was just I wasn't going to come out and say I was a conservative.
Right. And you were afraid, but that shows you how people feel. And first of all, by the way, I don't care.
Yes.
I have friends who are on all sides, very liberal, progressive friends. I have conservative, and I have religious friends. My friend Jeremy Kuhn, who's been on this show, he produced Napoleon Dynamite. He's Mormon, and he did that movie. He did that Star Wars documentary on the holiday special, A Disturbance in the Force. So that is a thing. And I think it's weird to experience this religious and political bigotry. Like, you think that we have enough knowledge from the past that we would have learned, and that doesn't seem to be the case. So
I mean, I'll say this, not to get political, but the vice presidential debate a couple of days ago was very interesting, because I mean, weirdly enough, it felt civil. It felt like that you may not have agreed with one side or the other, but there was many opportunities where both of them said, you and I probably agree on this. You and I probably agree on that. And
Alan, Alan, we have so much to get to. We have so much to get to. We've got to move on.
You're the one who derailed this conversation. So I'm just saying,
it's
we
actually
can,
true.
We can still be civil. We can still be civil. Go to next movie.
No, we have super chats. So let's get to these real quick.
All right. CD Science 69 for $4.99. With the beginning of Halloween upon us, what are your top 5 favorite horror movies, even if they're not well known?
Halloween 1978, John Carpenter, The Thing, The Fly, the George Romero verse zombie movies, starting with Night of the Living Dead. So all of those, and The Substance is probably the most recent one. And Alan does not like horror.
I know, yeah. Nightmare Before Christmas. Vagabundo Devon for 5. Hail Vagabundo. Hey, it's me in HD. Schindler's List Light. Yeah, they don't actually go to a concentration camp in this movie. Mull 123 for 10 euros. This is for Alan putting up with Chris and his tantrums.
Well, by the way, if you're giving super chats for that just encourages me to have another tantrum so we get more super chats.
No, people don't want that. JMP at home for 5 Canadian. On Eastern Standard Time, I rely on your reviews, but I usually go Friday afternoon to avoid crowds. Would it be possible to air these 2 hours earlier so I don't waste my
I'm not getting up at 7 a.m.
That's not happening.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, we do our best. We try to, we also have an international audience. Some people are watching in Europe, but I wish we've talked about changing things, but I don't think that's possible.
Not 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Thomas Pickett for 2. Not full Holocaust, just mild Holocaust.
Yeah, Thomas Pickett.
I mean, yeah. Okay. Grabner the Wanderer for 10. Hey guys, just wanted to say I love the show and wish me well because I'm getting married today.
Congratulations, Grabnar the Wanderer. I envy you. Marriage is a roller coaster, but the good outweighs the bad, and you are gonna have a great wedding. Congratulations.
Yeah. In fact, play this stream during your wedding.
Thank you, Grabnar.
Red Gore for 2. Gore smash inbox.
Thank you for that.
And Matthew Hammond for 5. Did you know that Anne Frank's father, Otto Frank, wrote part of the diary?
I did not know that. I'm sure it was edited. I'm sure it's not complete, but the story is very affecting. It's I saw the movie when I was a kid too, and that was crazy. All right, pivoting to our next film for review. We are going to talk about Frankie Freako, which is directed by Steven Kostanski. Why do you know that name? Steven Kostanski directed Psycho Goreman, one of my favorite recent horror films. It's a horror comedy / inappropriate children's film. And Steven is back with this film, Frankie Freako, which seems like a movie plucked from the 1980s. It's kind of inspired by movies like Gremlins and Goblins. It's this kind of cheesy effects, all practical effects, cheesy and fun with these puppets that are creepy and scary. There's the actor Connor Sweeney plays Connor in the movie, who's a super uptight guy who works in an office and answers a late night phone line where he can get help from these crazy goblins that come to his house from another dimension. This is the story, folks. They come to his house from another dimension and cause utter chaos. It's like Gremlins on acid. And if you liked Psycho Goreman, this isn't quite as over the top, but it is bizarre. There's even scenes where they go in a runaway rail car to the other dimension with these creepy goblin characters. And the lead goblin is called Frankie Freako. And they're all like, it is so because each of the goblins has like a personality, like they're rock and roll or punk rock. And it really is all about Connor's journey to come out of his shell. I love those movies from the 80s. You know they're not great. These are not epics. They're not great, but this is a horror comedy. And if you loved Psycho Goreman, it's in the same vein. Like they're throwing up, they're destroying his place. Connor's like uptight and annoying. His boss comes over and somehow gets plastered onto the ground. So very strange. And also, by the way, Connor has this super hot wife named Christina who her assets are featured in the film. So it's very much like she's super hot and sexy. It's gore and comic. It's sort of comic and cartoony violence and grossness. And it's I don't know, it's made for like an 80s or a 90s kid in all of us. So I loved Frankie Freako. Highly recommend it. Not quite as good as Psycho Goreman, which I consider a classic, but really amazing. And there's a lot of model work. If you're looking, like the runaway mine car that goes to another dimension is all a model. So I loved it. I love practical effects, and it's a nod to those movies like Goblin. So recommend it. Give it a 7.5 out of 10. So go see Frankie Freako. It's in limited release currently. And there is an interview with the director, Steven Kostanski, on our interviews channel. And we'll put a link to that in the description of this review. So there you go. That's a movie I saw that you didn't, because pretty much I know if like any horror film is coming in, like that's my territory.
I mean, I would see this one. Just, it looks fun.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, I've seen Puppet Master. I mean,
it's not scary like in the. It is. It's more fun and comedic than it is scary. Although it is gross.
Yeah,
it is gross.
It's right up there with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2.
Right. So, all right. Any comments? Let's go to comments here.
Yeah. From Spade 2187 for $4.99. Alan, when you going solo, when are you going to go solo? Chris is holding you back, baby. Well, let's just say I'm very aware of my performance, and I'm still working on it.
Well, there you go. You know what? Sure, I could go solo. I don't want to. I like being with Alan and having differing opinions, which is fine. And he likes some movies, or he sees movies I don't see. I see movies that he doesn't see. We need each other.
Yeah.
So,
and to me, it's the back and forth. Not feeling like you have to carry everything. I'm not Robert Meyer Burnett, who can do an entire show by himself.
Right.
Eloquently for hours. Yeah.
I mean, I guess we've done it on Versus. We both had our own solo streams, but I like talking to you, and I don't mind getting in arguments. Like, I don't know. It's I don't know. I mean, do you ever watch the guys from Geeks and Gamers, Ryan and Jeremy? That's nothing compared to Alan and I. So
yeah,
I don't know what to say.
All right, SWD40. Those puppets remind me of the ones from the Garbage Pail Kids movie.
This is better than the Garbage Pail Kids movie.
Jerry RN, Puppet Master 2.0. Tom Siebert, gee, is it Donnie Darko? Frankie Freako. Majestic. Alan should take some public speaking classes. They're not expensive. I mean, that goes back to the other comment. Razor Burn. So basically, Garbage Pail Kids on acid.
That's correct. That's what this is.
All right. Let's see. J for 2. Love you guys. Stay cool. Peace. And HR Giger's search history for $4.99. The Batman Part 2 was announced a different co-writer than the first film. It's Mattson Tomlin, who wrote the movie Yellowfish and a Batman comic.
Interesting. Thanks, HR Giger's search history. Let's get to our next review. We will get to Joker at the top of the hour. Let's talk about the Outrun. Alan, if you'll...
Yes. There we go.
All right.
Okay.
Now, I'm really interested in this movie because it stars Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan.
Is that correct? Saoirse?
Yeah, like inertia. It's Saoirse.
Okay, Saoirse Ronan. I've seen her in a lot of things. I think she's a very good actress. Tell me about the Outrun.
Yeah. So what I like is you can look at this poster and have no clue what this movie is about.
Right. I don't.
That's really what I had. The movie's about alcoholism and recovery. Saoirse plays a young woman named Rona, who is recently out of rehab for alcoholism, and she has nothing. She has no friends. The only person she could turn to is her family, her mom and dad, who lives out in the Orkney Islands in Ireland. And so the movie takes place there, and it follows two paths. and jumps back and forth. But one path is the events that her basically her rock bottom. And then the second path is her kind of day zero, and then the path that she has to recovery, to sobriety, I should say. I found this movie very fascinating because I've seen a lot of what I call these message movies. Like there's a recent movie with Liam Neeson where his wife gets breast cancer. And the movie walks us down the path of when you get breast cancer, this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. And it feels very checkbox. You know, people say this inadvertently to breast cancer victims and things like that. And so it hits all these public service messages throughout it. This one had the temptation of going down that road where, you know, here's a person going through recovery. This happens, this happens, this happens. This movie is based on a book by dang it, my notes. I know I wrote it down. Okay, it's on a book. And what I like about this movie is the center focus of this movie is recovery. It follows Saoirse's character Rona as she's going day to day to day, trying to become sober, and it's a really gritty look at that because there's a lot of points where she fails. There's a lot of points where she has to where triggers. There's a lot of introspection about the nature of alcoholism, and one other thing is she's a marine biologist by trade. And she's to get involved more, and so she joins this kind of small environmental group, and she kind of likens the sea and nature to the struggle she has in recovery. What I like also about the movie is her character Rona is very flawed, and she fails at times. You know, like the movie will follow the days. Day one, day two, and then when she slips up, the clock resets and she's at day zero. You know, this is a very introspective, very profound movie, especially when it comes to that. And I'll tell you, it's that those opening moments of a movie, you really got to lock in your audience to what's going on. It took a little bit of time to finally figure out what is going on, but once you know what's happening, and once you know what her struggle is and how she tries to manage her sobriety, this movie just really has a lot to say, and I highly recommend it.
All right. It's not a movie I would immediately jump at seeing. Where would you rate it out of 10?
7 out of 10 as well. But I mean, look at the poster. Everything I told you, does the poster tell you that? Yeah,
I saw the poster and immediately it was like,
what is it? I know. I mean, I go in. I know nothing. Yeah, I know nothing of this movie except this poster, and so I'm walking in. I'll tell you one interesting thing here is her hair is blue here.
Yeah.
So you can know at what point, because it flashbacks, it jumps back and forth in flashbacks. So you can know whether where you are in the timeline based on this blue hair and the roots coming out.
Oh,
because at one point the blue kind of comes all the way down to the tips of her hair.
Yeah, so it's that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that was an interesting way to mark time.
Yes.
Like
but
that.
Again, this so this is from her new production company. So this is the first film from that.
Saoirse Ronan. All right, so a recommend from
I recommend.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to comments here.
Yeah, and it's not woke. I should mention it's not woke. All right, Porg for 5. Are you guys going to Halloween Horror Nights? If so, did you get VIP tickets, Fast Pass, or general admission? Also, are you attending the Back to the Future panel at LA Comic-Con? Yes.
My goal is to attend the Back to the Future panel. I will be in line with Alan later today. As for Halloween Horror Nights, I don't know if I got to find a day to go. It'll probably be a weekday for me. So there you go. But thank you, Porg.
All right. The Chicago Box. Blue hair is a bad sign. I mean, that's what the young people do. Goober, you have to speak. You have to speak like Sean Connery. Saoirse.
Saoirse.
And Darth Yeager, when they tried to make her did she say no, no, no?
No. All right, let's go to our next movie. Let's do this one, Alan.
Okay.
Let's do this one. If you can find,
I got it.
All right. VHS Beyond is part of the VHS series of found footage horror films. This one is an anthology of found footage horror themed stories that are all related to aliens and alien abduction. Like any anthology horror series, it's a mixed bag, but I gotta say the standouts, overshadow the ones that are just okay. There are two major standout stories in this, and it's very quick. They have a guy who's like a narrator talking about aliens and alien encounters and UFOs. He's sort of the bracketing, the bookending device between videos. But the two real standouts that sold this for me, and I guess it's in theaters and on Shudder today, October 4th, is one where a woman comes upon an alien vessel and gets trapped in it, and it takes off, and she's just in the vehicle having this experience and can't control it, and things happen to her. The way it's told is really frightening, where she's in this vehicle, she doesn't understand it, and then suddenly she sees Earth from far away. She doesn't know what her fate will be, and she takes off. The other one I couldn't believe, because with the found footage thing, the filmmakers have to use tricks to go from one shot to the other to make sure it is a single camera shot. This scene is so amazing. So a bunch of kids are on the ground they get into an airplane that takes off. They're going skydiving. Yay, skydiving. They're in the plane for this skydiving experience. Suddenly there are UFOs outside of the plane. There are the Air Force is now attacking the UFOs. Their plane gets like blown apart. They're falling through the air. And the guy who's got the camera survives. He puts his chute up and he barely survives, and then is being chased by aliens on the ground. It's all in one take. I kept looking like, how did they do this? There are places where I'm sure it cut. A couple are kind of obvious. The others I could not tell. That story alone, it's like they're all like 10 or 15 minutes. It was so good. The alien effects were kind of mixed, but this whole thing of skydiving onto the ground, then it's a battle with aliens. It was insane. So I really enjoyed this. I love horror anthologies because, when there's one you're like, oh, that was a filler, or that one's not so great. There'll be at least one that's really good, and there's more than one. There's another one. I won't ruin any too many of them, but the one where they're skydiving is absolutely inspired. So and there are 6 of these short films. So recommend it. Great way to kick off Halloween season with some new horror. And I haven't seen all the VHS series, but this makes me want to check it out. So VHS Beyond gets a recommend from me. I'd say 8 out of 10. Just for the 2 that I thought were amazing, because God, the skydiving one, I'm sitting here watching. How did they do this? They mixed footage of them in a plane, the plane breaking apart, some of the survivors falling to the ground. I mean, it was just intense. That whoever did that sequence should be directing a feature. So I really enjoyed VHS Beyond. So check it out on Shudder, which I will subscribe. I'll subscribe to Shudder and Full Moon, and probably Trauma, because they're all like $5 for the month. Get my fill of horror. So there you go. And Alan, this is too scary for you.
Is it? 'Cause
It'll
what you described sounds really interesting.
No, it's actually really, you know, it's not like, I mean, there's jump scares for sure. There are a couple jump scares that got me, but yeah, I really liked it. So there you go. It was that one with the skydiving that really sold it.
Mhm.
So let's go to comments here.
Krizik for 10. I noped out of the VHS series after Shudder became the holder of the franchise. Nothing as Shudder. It just that the quality is not as good as the first and second ones, in my humble opinion.
This seems like an attempt to reboot it with a theme, and the theme of aliens. I mean, the first episode in this is a bunch of cops going to like some house and discover aliens, an alien in the attic, and you know but I like the you know, anthology aspect of it, because I'm like, all right, that was okay, that one was great, oh, this is another good one. So you know, it's a mixed bag, but overall a mixed bag worth seeing. But thanks, Krizik.
Mhm. All right, Ad Viking. Oh, sorry, 4D. Ad Viking. 4D Viking. How do they find the video if she leaves the planet?
Exactly.
Hmm?
Exactly.
Suns and
Yeah, but
Shadows.
yeah, I mean, logic. I'm not nitpicking. It's all about the storytelling.
All right. Suns and Shadows. I hate found footage, but first two are all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You're going to the next one?
Yeah. Let me go to the next one.
I got it. Davina Duckworth. I thought VHS would be about a video rental store.
I wish.
All right. And then lastly, Patrick Lemire, Tangent. Instagram Found Footage Festival is the greatest rabbit hole of VHS weirdness.
By the way, Patrick Lemire, I follow that account too, the Found Footage Festival. I follow their YouTube channel. I watch Saturday morning cartoons. I watch VCR Party Time. There is, even if you have a Roku box, there is a Found Footage Festival channel, which I subscribe to. So we know those guys. They made a documentary called Chop and Steal, which won at Award This. And I love Nick and Joe.
Yeah.
So I'm well aware of the Found Footage Instagram. Subscribe to their YouTube channel, which is also great.
And they tour, so you can actually see the.
Yeah, I've never been to the tour, but I'll go if it comes to
Yeah,
LA.
well, they were here last January. Flash G, 5 Canadian. What's up with film festivals that guarantee selection to filmmakers? I'm a filmmaker, and I'm skeptical if found footage skeptical from film festivals that reached out.
You should be. If a festival is reaching out to you, that's a sign. And if you, I mean, I unfortunately, you got to spend a couple grand to get into a festival. So it's really, do you want a guarantee, or do you want to hold your premiere for a more prestige festival or event, depending on your movie? It's fine, but I feel if they're reaching out to you, that's a sign. So
yeah, I just had a conversation with one of our friendly publicists, one of our friends, and like a scam sometimes. Let's just say that.
Yep. Let's go. Before we get to Joker, we'll do one more movie. Which should we do here? I'll do this one, okay. Alan.
Okay.
Okay. Let me tell you about Devara Part 1. It's a Telugu film, and it stars NTR, which also he was one of the stars of RRR, one of my all-time favorite, probably my favorite Indian film I've ever seen. So it's N.T. Rama Rao Jr. He's known as NTR for short. He played Beam in RRR. He is the lead in this film, which is about a legendary fighter who is off the coast of India. Basically, he's part of a group of pirates. And the movie at times almost feels like an Aquaman story because his character in the film, Devara, is like a superhero. He's swims in the ocean. He fights pirates in ridiculous, over-the-top action sequences, and he becomes legendary in this part of the world. He parts ways. He's part of this group of pirates in the beginning and then parts ways with them and then goes undercover as his own son. The story is very confusing. The action sequence over the top as to be ridiculous. I mean, like, he's catching sharks in the ocean and bringing them up on shore with like mixed with bad digital effects and some puppetry. And I don't know, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. There's a couple musical numbers in this thing. The pirates conspire to kill him at a wedding. They have this wedding and they're going to kill him at the wedding and get him drunk because he's going after the bad guys. And then it's ridiculous. It lacks the heart that I've seen in other Indian films. The over the top nature isn't, at least in RRR when it was over the top, it was played like Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is ridiculous and unrealistic. And with the bad effects, doesn't sell it, right? I thought the effects in RRR was, it made sense for what it was. This does not make sense. It's part one. I can't imagine what part two will be. So I was really disappointed with Devara part one. I cannot recommend it. Probably give it a 5 out of 10. It was nice to see NTR. Like, I'd like to see him in a better movie, but like it just went off on tangents that you just couldn't buy it. It's in limited release at AMC right now, where I paid to go see it. But and at some point it will end up on Amazon, but can't recommend it. Except for the action sequences were kind of cool, but you could tell too often that Devara was on these, it's on wires. It's all on wires. He's like, he'd jump about or jump up a thing. It's all wire work. And then, it was very obvious wire work to me. So I wasn't thrilled or taken. I found like the over the top nature just made it boring because it wasn't rooted in reality. It lacked the romanticism of RRR. I can't compare everything to RRR, but he was in that, and like Harrison Ford post Star Wars would do other movies and people would make inevitable comparisons. So, Alan, you dodged a bullet by not going to this.
I was going to say to our Indian audience, please direct all your comments to Chris Gore.
Yes. Yes.
You are about to get some massive heat now.
I'm sorry. And it's clearly based on a legend, which plays kind of like Aquaman in a way, or the way that Jason Momoa's Aquaman. It seems inspired by that in a way. He's not Aquaman. I'm just saying it has that feeling in a sense.
I'm just saying, get ready for the hate.
Yes. To our Indian audience that just unsubscribed.
It's this guy.
What can I say? What can I say?
I would highly encourage you to next time on Wednesday, we should read the comments of your review to Devara.
Yeah. All right. We'll do that next week.
We'll do that. All right. Yeah, we're not making friends here today.
All right. Sure. Well, thanks for that. Let's go to our comments here.
Yes, Francisco Sanchez Jr. for 20. I'll watch VHS Beyond because it is found footage, my favorite horror subgenre. Chris, what are some of your favorite found footage movies? Alan, I'm curious about faith movies and have not seen many. What to start? I do have a great movie to recommend.
Recommend.
Okay. Unsung Heroes. It's Lionsgate, came out this year. It is probably one of the best faith movies I've ever seen. It's the story of Christian singer Rebecca St. James and her family when they moved to America by faith. I've taken non-Christians to it, and they have been highly impressed with it. And so Unsung Heroes from Lionsgate. Unsung Hero from Lionsgate.
In terms of found footage, Blair Witch Project, Cannibal Holocaust, God, there's a lot of good ones. I'd have to really think about that. It'll come up again. Daniel became a new member. Thank you for that. Check our members only section for stuff. Chet's mom 4. Does he talk to dolphins? No. But
And it's not Aquaman.
yeah, but yeah. Can you grade on an RRR scale? Says Daniel for 2. It's a 1 on a scale of RRR. So there you go.
Yeah. You just get the sense that RRR was kind of genre break. I mean, it's a very different Indian film.
Right.
It just feels that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Imperial Aguila RR was flippin' fantastic.
Yes,
flippin' fantastic. Chris, Bollywood gonna cancel you for this. Absolutely.
No, it's not. To be clear, it's not Bollywood. Bollywood are Hindi movies. Tollywood are Telugu movies. India is such a huge continent. They have like 7 different, they have a lot of different languages, and they each have their own entertainment. This is Telugu, so it's Tollywood technically, but yes, they will cancel me.
Yes. Sukash Sakon for 100 rupees. You guys should know about Rajamouli's Curse, an actor to hit with them. Their very next film is bound to not work at the box office.
Yeah, the Rajamouli Curse, an actor delivers a hit with him. The next film is bound to not work. That's true in this case.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, Sukash Sakon for 40 rupees. NTR's next one will be with the director of KGF, sorry.
Yeah, I liked KGF, so that's a good sign.
Pathan.
And I like NTR. I like NTR. I met NTR.
Me too.
We both did, actually. Yeah. So cool. Should we get to Joker?
Yeah, why not?
Let's get to Joker. And we may end the show early today, which is good because we have to get to LA Comic-Con. Right, Alan?
Yes.
All right, let's get this.
All right. Let's get this started.
Okay, we have given you our review of Joker Folie, Deux, better known as Joker 2. This is the continuation of, or the sequel to the film Joker, which never needed a sequel. It was a much better film than anybody thought it would be. And the spoilers here will, I think, let you know definitively there will not be a Joker 3. So, before we get into the spoilers, Alan, tell us a little more about at least the third act.
The third act?
Yeah.
You're saying? Yeah. So third act, let me say, I'm trying to think exactly where that starts, but we're in the trial. And essentially the third act is the turn of Arthur Fleck. When he basically, I think the movie up to this point is him kind of embracing the persona of the Joker. So much so that he is gaining a following, and he is, he has the girl, Harley Quinzel here, Lee. Right. And he, I think after a massive beat, after an appearance on a television show, he realizes that he's not up for the task and he backs off. And that's kind of the third act, is it's where Arthur Fleck becomes Beta once again, and how everyone starts turning on him. And I think that this was the moment where I realized that if there's any moment that's going to break lore and make DC fans go nuts, it's this point, because this is where Arthur Fleck does not become Joker, where Joker is no longer Joker, and it's kind of the ending has a lot of pathos, but it's not Joker. And even though I liked it up until this point, realized that this is where it's just going to turn on everybody. And I think that's kind of the sad. I'll be honest. I was disappointed at the turn in the third act.
Yeah, I was disappointed too. And then it's well, I mean, starting with Mr. Puddles, the highlight of the movie, and a scene where nobody sings. Mr. Puddles is interrogated by Arthur Fleck, and they have kind of a moment that was kind of touching and also funny at the same time, and bizarre.
Yeah, I should say that was the turn. That was the moment of the turn for
right. Yeah. And then, of course, later on, there's an explosion, and they break him out. And there's in the courtroom, there's an explosion. Harvey Dent he's injured. Joker escapes with a guy dressed as Joker. He has inspired an uprising, a movement that he's now begrudgingly the head of. He's inspired people to dress in this makeup and basically, look at causing chaos like Joker did. So then he gets brought back in prison only to get stabbed to death and murdered by a guy. And they foreshadow it in the beginning. Yeah. This guy's kind of creepy. And then he carves the smile on his face into his own face to, I guess, become the real Joker. It doesn't really matter at that point, but Arthur Fleck isn't the Joker who will go up against Batman, because if what we're seeing is reality, he's dead. And that's the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't, when he went Beta, he didn't become the man who could go up against a Batman.
Right.
Yeah. And then this explosion, this is the other thing about the explosion is a massive event in the movie. Is a significant event because you remember it. The problem is it felt like the only reason the explosion happened was so that he can have one last moment with Lady Gaga. With
yeah.
And then where's he wind up? He's back in jail.
Yeah, it was sort of pointless.
It's to do something that big and that massive, a moment of, hey, I want my girl back. It just tells you that there's a lot of missteps in the script and the story. The more and more I think about it, what I liked about this movie was just songs they sang. I mean, look, we're the Carpenters. We got George Gershwin. You have Cole Porter. You have a lot of these classic movies, classic songs, Broadway songs that I love, have listened to for a massive portion of my life. And it's being done here in Joker, and I like that. And as I think about it, this is the only reason I like this movie. It's the music.
Well, I did not like the music. It did not advance the story, not even a weird, like, look how dark this is. Let's sing happy songs so they're ironic, which is an indie film trope. That is totally an indie film trope.
Yeah. I mean, like, it felt like a cabaret. You're right. The songs don't progress the movie because they're not original songs. They're covers of classics.
Right.
And it feels that way, and it felt that way, and I think that's what I liked was the cabaret aspect of it all. But there's so much surrounding it that was just so disappointing.
Yeah, I can't recommend it. Did not need a sequel at all, and it also, I almost think if you saw the first movie and you liked it, don't see this movie because it will ruin your impression of the last film. And really, If this somehow connected to the Batman, right, in some way, that the guy who kills Arthur Fleck in prison and carved his face, if that's the origin of the Joker, that's kind of lame. I actually like the idea with Heath Ledger's Joker that we never know the origin. It's a mystery. He tells a different story every time his origin comes up, or how he got these scars, right? Like, I thought that was a great addition. And as for lore breaking, I don't care. It's fine. If you look at the 80-year history of Batman, the character is 80. How many years is it? Like, I think it's 85 years. There's people, there are runs of the comic. There's even the 66 Batman TV series that add to the lore. For example, Commissioner Gordon was not a character in the comic books. That character was added to the 66 Batman TV series as a narrative device so they could introduce the villain of the week. And then Gordon was from the TV series worked into the comics, and even Harley Quinn. Paul Dini created the character of Harley Quinn in the animated series as someone for the Joker to play off of and talk to, right? And so then Harley Quinn worked that character into the comics and, of course, other movies. So these things build on the lore. So when you've got a character that's, gonna be 100 years old, right, in 15 years, adding to the lore is a good thing, right? I applaud that. It's not breaking canon, it's adding to the canon. So I will defend that, and that's a nerd debate to have.
See, I won't. So I'll take the other side. The way Arthur Fleck ends up is not Joker.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why it breaks lore. That's why.
He's dead. He's dead. He can't.
No. Not the death of Joker. I get that, right. But it's the person of the Joker.
Right.
Like when you think of Cesar Romero as Joker, you don't imagine that guy becoming what Arthur Fleck ultimately becomes.
Yeah.
And to me, that's why it breaks lore, because you shouldn't even call the character Joker. If you had just told the story and not used the Joker IP, you probably have a much better experience with it than this, because there's a character arc between the two movies. But when you attach Joker to it, and when you have an expectation of what the Joker is, and they don't fulfill that expectation, in fact, they go against that expectation, you've now broken the lore of it. That's why I think they made the mistake by calling this a Joker movie.
Yes, and I'll add one last thing, that I don't think people will mind necessarily if lore is broken, not canon, lore. If this is a big if, an important thing, if you are true to the character, right? Even the Lord of the Rings movies, the Peter Jackson ones, the good ones, the ones worth seeing, they are true to those characters, the spirit of those characters, even though it's not fully exact it's not going exactly by the book, right? But the characters are true. That's why I think people liked the first movie, is because, that feels like a version of the Joker. And there have been, I like the Cesar Romero Joker for its time. I like Jack Nicholson. I like his version of the Joker. I like Heath Ledger is the GOAT. He is the best Joker by far. Jared Leto, probably the worst Joker. And then the deleted scenes with Barry Keoghan from the Batman I'm glad they never showed it. There's a reason that they never showed it. But why I think people responded so well, it's not just the first movie is about mental illness and class disparity and lonely and forgotten people. And it dealt with those themes in a really emotional way. as well as building a Joker character. And this movie is a mess. So
yeah, well, I mean, this movie is about PTSD. It's about trauma, which is not a Joker story. I will agree with you. The first movie, where Arthur Fleck ends up at the end, is a Joker movie. He is the Joker. This one is not. Even at the beginning of the movie, when he's just melancholy in prison, you just don't get the sense he's Joker, and he doesn't become Joker until he realizes that he has a following, and that a girl likes him because of that. And again, but that's not true to the character. That's to your point. Joker 2 isn't true to the character at all, and I think that's why it fails, or big reason why it fails.
Well, I think both of us do not. Well, no, I don't recommend the movie, but you do like.
If you like Cole Porter, Gershwin, and a lot of the classic Broadway tunes, I would recommend this movie.
I don't recommend it, and look, I know a lot of there was advanced word. It was not very good. I was skeptical, but I'm optimistic. I was optimistic about it, but ultimately, it didn't work for me. So it's a pass. Let's go to your comments and questions here, and I'm gonna go get coffee, Alan. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
All right, Tom M for $13.99 Canadian. Thank you for that. Spanish horror is the best horror. Chris would love this. The Last Circus kind of comes across as an alternate Joker origin story, and it is bonkers in the very best way. Then check out Venecia Farenia.
I'm listening. I also would recommend Santa Sangre by Alejandro Jodorowsky. I'd recommend that. So there you go. I'll be right back. I had to change my it was Godzilla for a second. I'll be right back now. I'm just grabbing coffee.
You're just changing. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's fine.
JTPRX. Joker part takes a deuce. There you go. I'm skipping around here, so I'm gonna make sure I start things. Spidey Sensei 72 for 10. Thank you. If the first Joker was successful because it was based on the king of comedy and Taxi Driver, what movie do you think this was based off of, if any? And if none, is that why it's failing at the box office?
I have an answer to that. I'll be right back.
Okay, my answer would be Chicago. Can you yell your answer? Nope. Okay. Yeah, he'll get back to that. All right. Let's see. Daniel for 5. This sequel vindicates all of us who said the first movie was not a Joker movie. The movie's creator proved that they hated their own movie's success. I will agree with you, except that it was not a Joker. I think you can make the case that it was not a Joker movie, but it still was a good movie. And it's kind of a story set outside of the world that kind of brings us into the Joker. I don't know if that makes sense, but you're not wrong in your comment. Aaron Charman for £5. I need to correct you, Chris. Commissioner Gordon is in the very first frame of the first Batman comic, though he is a minor character in that series. All right. Good to know. Let's see. Aaron Charman again. No, I think I unstarred a super chat by mistake.
By the way, okay, I have an answer to that inspired. Hang on a sec. Okay. And so Aaron Sharman's correcting me. Yeah, I get it, but he wasn't an integral character. I need to correct you, Chris. Commissioner Gordon is in the very first frame of the first Batman comic, though he is a very minor character in that series. Well, it became more of a character in the 66 Batman. So, and the other thing, regarding Todd Phillips' inspiration, it was a movie by Martin Scorsese called New York, New York. And New York, New York was one of Scorsese's worst movies. Have you seen it?
I have, but I was very young and I don't remember a thing about it.
It's it's basically a musical with Robert De Niro and Liza Minnelli, and it's terrible. It's one of Scorsese's worst films, And that's the inspiration, I believe, because the first Joker was inspired by Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy, 2 Scorsese movies. This one, I believe, is New York, New York, which was a mistake to pull that for inspiration. So, look, making a sequel to Joker is like making One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest 2. You wouldn't do that. So there you go. Let's keep going with comments starting at the top here. Alan.
Sons and Shadows. I love the first Joker. Wife and I are second guessing going to this one. I mean, if you guys like musicals, you might want to give it a chance. The Chicago Box. I'm glad to see little people get work.
Yeah. Kudos to Todd Phillips for not doing a digital little person.
A digital Mr. Puddles. You could have made 16 Godzilla -1s for one Joker 2.
Yeah.
Blue Sunrise. There are multiple Jokers that inspire the next one, so he never dies, basically. Yeah, and I think they did that.
That would be a different take on Joker as a character. Like there's always someone taking up the mantle. So, I mean, you could make that interesting, but Todd Phillips doesn't want to do that. So,
Sean Christopher, yes, back in jail. Oh, sorry. Give me a second. All right. He isn't special. He is not romantic. He's just a basic criminal. This was all part of the good story. The song is just distracted from that.
Yep, I hear you.
Hey, it's me in HD. Sounds like Todd tried to rip off on Nolan's trilogy ideas.
Riff on.
I don't think he's making a third. Joe Chapman, in the court, they say it's New York versus Arthur and not Gotham. I was confused. Anyone know why?
I noticed that too. I think they meant New York State. But I could
Gotham
be
in New York?
Yeah, you're right, Joe. That stood out to me too. It's Gotham versus Arthur Fleck.
By the way, is it canon that
New York,
Gotham
New York versus
State of New York? It would be the State of New York versus Arthur Fleck.
Yeah, so it's State of New York, I believe. But
is it canon that Gotham is in New York?
Correct.
Okay. Tom Siebert, I guess I'm not going to see it. They don't deserve my money. It sounds like a demoralization psyop.
Yep.
Robot. Is that right? It actually lessens
Robot dues.
Okay. It actually lessens the Joker if that's the case. He just got his shtick from Arthur Fleck dumb. Correct.
Very dumb. So, all right. Now we've got two more films to review. And this will be a shorter show today because we have LA Comic-Con. Alan has seen a film that I have not, which I want to hear about. It's Veteran 2, I, Executioner. Alan, tell me about this film.
Well, this is from South Korea. It is the sequel to the very popular Veteran. It's called I, Executioner. Veteran refers to a team of major crimes investigators. So I think what I like about this movie what I like about the movie is South Korea and the United States, I believe, are very similar in their tastes in how stories are told, especially crime stories. And I, the Executioner, is one of those crime stories that's going to feel fairly familiar to you, but you're going to kind of see it through the South Korean cultural lens. But what's happening here is there's a serial killer on the loose, but this serial killer kills bad people. For example, the movie opens with a professor who sexually assaulted one of his students. I think it was like a teacher's aide, and she wound up unaliving herself. And so this serial killer grabs him, puts him in a chair, films it, issues a warning to the entire world virally, and then throws him off the roof to crash to the ground and die.
Nice.
And the interesting thing about this is this vigilante, like Batman, like the Joker, maybe even gets a following. It raises a social question of if the police and the justice system is incompetent prosecute these bad people, then maybe someone else should go and prosecute criminals for them. Or B, is the justice system and the law enforcement so corrupt that they're not, and therefore we need a vigilante to do this. And this is kind of the crux, the theme of the story that goes throughout this. We follow the major crimes department just chasing this guy. When they find out his MO, they figure out who the next target will be, and they put this guy into protective custody, hoping to flush out the serial killer. And two things happen: one, they flush him out, and B, the guy gets killed anyways. And then what's also interesting is the revelation of who the serial killer is, which happens halfway through the movie. And once that revelation occurs, the entire movie changes. When I say it's similar to American films, you got your chases, you got a good car chase, a lot of parkour. That's where a lot of the action comes in. There's a tumble down a very long flight of stairs that is very brutal. At the end, when the serial killer basically goes after government, it becomes kind of like Saw type traps. A decision has to be made. Do you want to protect a loved one, or do you want to save these criminals? And that's this movie. It's fairly long. It's about 2.5 hours long. It is in theaters at the moment, played at Toronto International Film Festival. I recommend it. Like I said, I like South Korean movies because they feel like American movies. They're just unencumbered by political correctness and wokeness. There's two women in this that a Hollywood studio exec would say you can't have that, and that's what I mean by unencumbered.
Are they hot?
They're okay. They're okay.
I'm just I agree with you. I love Korean films, and it's like you're right, they don't care about woke nonsense. They do. I'll say this: Korean films do American movies better than America does American movies,
especially crime thrillers, especially crime thrillers like this. It's fairly standard when it comes to a crime thriller, but I think it's better than what you'll see. It's, I'll liken this to Bad Boys, the last one we saw. It's less swagger, less stars in it, but it's there's a light tone of this movie, but there's a deadly tone of this movie as well. And then, violence against women, they're not doing it for the sake of just being able to do it, but it plays a part in the story. And it makes sense because, if you're running from the cops and you're running for your life and a woman is in the way, you're going to do what you need to do to survive. And, that's what I mean by they don't care about political correctness.
Well, I love that. So now you convinced me, because I could have seen this, but now I want to. That's great. Yeah. So you recommend it? I recommend it.
Definitely. All right. It's, I've seen gritty Korean films. This one's tends to be a little bit lighter. Like I said, it's kind of got that Bad Boys kind of humor to it, but it's still pretty good.
Let's go to your comments here, starting with super chats. With this,
yeah, Tom M for 699 Canadian. They should have based Joker 2 after The Warriors. Can you imagine Gangs of Gotham?
Oh, that would be cool.
And as a musical
concept.
And as a musical.
I would not like that. That is a better concept, actually.
Yeah, I will not eat the bugs. The first Veteran was a great Korean flick. Yeah, most of the cast is back. Spidey Sensei 72, a South Korean Punisher? No.
But I love that this is, if you're going to see a movie sequel this weekend, see the Executioner. It's the better sequel.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Nerd Far Away. So Dexter the movie. No, what's interesting is the villain it becomes very popular on the internet. And then there's a legal guy who does reaction videos and then tries to basically grift on crime, on this guy's crimes.
So is that based on Legal Mindset?
Yeah, it was legal. Yeah, in fact, it was Andrew, by the way. It's
based on Andrew from Legal Mindset.
Yeah.
It's funny. All right, let's get to our next movie here. Alan, you know what it is. This one is a movie that I saw.
Okay.
Okay. This is another film I saw that you did not. It's What's Inside, that premiered at the Sundance Film Festival earlier this year in January. It has now come to Netflix, directed by Greg Jardin. The basic story is the pre-wedding celebration with a bunch of old friends and a mysterious friend that they haven't seen for years named Forbes, comes to attend this party. They haven't seen him in a long time. They had a falling out with his friend. He was still invited and shows up with a suitcase. What's in the suitcase? We meet our couples. The couple that is featured is Cyrus and Shelby, and they're having troubles in their relationship. But mainly, Cyrus is more interested in porn than having sex with his girlfriend. There's the couple that's going to get married, and the other couple. They all kind of blend together. This movie reminded me of the setup of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. When Forbes shows up with this suitcase, they're going to play a party game. What's in the suitcase? And to tell you about it, the trailers don't give away exactly, but I will have to get into minor spoilers to tell you about what happens. Otherwise, it's hard to discuss this film. This device in the suitcase, you connect to it. Everybody takes these little electrodes, connects them to their temple. And what it allows you to do is, for a short period of time, switch brains. So you, like a hard drive, get switched into someone else's body. You get to experience the world through another person's body for a certain amount of time. And they play this like it's a fun party game. I won't go into a lot of what happens in the third act, but there is a precipitating event that happens about halfway through the film as we get to know these characters. They think, oh, this is a goofy, fun party game, where an accident occurs where a couple dies and those bodies are dead, and the minds that transferred into those bodies are dead, and the people who are embodied in a different body can't go back to that body because that body is now deceased, which creates a conundrum that escalates and escalates. And I can't give away anything more. I thought the concept for this movie is amazing. It was like just so weird. The problems I had with it, and I was really looking forward to this because James Morosini, who is in the movie I Love My Dad, which we reviewed and we interviewed him last year. He is the lead actor in this film, even though I would describe it as an ensemble. But and he's kind of a shady guy. It really, I think it's played more of as a horror comedy, sci-fi, whereas it really, the way I saw this concept, and I don't want to like make a different movie in my head from the movie that was made by the director Greg Jardin, but like the body horror aspect, it was a missed opportunity. Like, what if a man, there's a moment where one guy his brain goes into
what?
There's one of the characters goes into a black character's body and like, hey, I should whip my dick out, like a big dick joke. It's kind of obvious, and I thought kind of lame in my opinion, but the body horror aspect of a male going into a female's body or vice versa, they could have played with that. The body horror of like, if you and I switch bodies, Alan, I would be taller. What's the world like from being tall? My breath, I'd be like, wow, did I have garlic earlier today? You know, like, okay, weird thing to say, but I'm just saying that this could have played with body horror. It didn't. if they played more as a comedy, but when you kill two of the characters and it's still lighthearted, it didn't land with me. So I really love the setup, love the concept. I'd almost like to see a sequel to it that takes the concept in a different direction. But it really comes, I'm not going to say the third act stuff that happens because it goes off in a direction I didn't see coming, which was, for me, not the most interesting idea you could do with this concept. So, but when two of the characters die and you've got the problem of the bodies and then the souls that were in those bodies that also cease to exist, there's a conundrum of, I can't go back to my body. What body am I going to be left with? So, in the end, I still give it a mild recommend because the cast is really good. Brittany O'Grady, who plays Shelby, I thought was great. The young cast, really good young cast, but in the end, just felt like missed opportunity to escalate it to more. Because when you find out part of the motivation for the body switching, it's not all that interesting. See, I didn't totally ruin it, but I had to get to midpoint spoilers. So mild recommend. It's on Netflix starting today, and there you go. There's even I did go to the premiere and film the Q&A, which is on for members only in our members only video section. Check out the Q&A with the cast. So,
it failed to live up to its potential.
Yes,
and it was off tonally. It sounded like it was trying to be more of a comedy when it really could have explored some of the dark
the horror
of this. Yeah,
like if you switch into another person's body, and body switching is like whatever, it just was. And also, by the way, these characters are all around the same age. They're all partying kids that like are into Instagram. The problem is the people are not that different. I felt that the character development was lackluster. They weren't different enough of people to make a switch go, oh, well, that's definitely this person. Because body switching is a genre of film in the 80s and 90s. There are a bunch of movies that do that. This does not do it well.
Yeah. At the beginning, it sounded like you were describing the white version of The Blackening.
Yes, in a way.
Yeah. I know. I'm kind of like, when you describe the plot, it's like, I want to see this movie. And then when you describe how good it is, I don't want to see this movie.
Well, I still think it's worth seeing. I think conceptually, I would do a sequel. It combines like Bodies, the cast, which I did not like that movie, with kind of a almost Talk to Me in a way. Here's this party game. Let's play this party game. And things go bad. They go south quick. But I think the problem is the people are, because they're same age, they're all kind of very surface level. They're all obsessed with social media validation, Instagram. It's very well directed, I'll say.
Yeah.
For a movie that was shot in 18 days, very well directed. They do this thing because I'll tell you this, it gets very confusing of who's in what body. So they take Polaroids of themselves and pin it to their chest, so you can see this is who is in this body, and they play a guessing game of who's in what's body, who's in whose body. But then things go awry in the middle. Like I say, a very mild recommendation. Great concept, poorly executed, well directed, good cast. So a mixed bag. But I can see why Netflix bought it, and I can see why people at Sundance like the film. So
it's different.
Different
good idea. Okay.
Let's go to your comments here.
All right. Sons and Shadows sounds like an adult film title.
Yeah.
All right. Patrick Lemire, very retro poster. Even the poster, these people look bland. All right. ADLS 24. So this is The Substance, a comedy.
Kind of. And Substance was way better.
I mean, is there actual body horror in this, or
There isn't.
Okay.
Zero. Body horror would have been just the idea that two characters die. And then where do you transfer your essence, so to speak, to a different body? You're stuck in a different body for the rest of your life. And then they're going to try to.
Yeah.
Huh?
If it's only temporary, I'm just talking about the logic. If it's only temporary.
They're stuck.
Okay. Razorburn. There was a 70s movie that had the same premise. Forgot the name.
Interesting.
I wish I knew. Imperial Aguilera. Tone failure then. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Ron Henriquez. Chris, thanks for reviewing Devara. You're right. It's too long. Some people are listening as 3 hours. Indian audience saw it thought it was great, though. So much enthusiasm and screaming. I couldn't hear the film at times, but they made it fun.
Thanks, Ron. Yeah, I agree with you. It's fun.
Yeah, it's like those sitcoms. Those sitcoms when the cast would come in and the audience would applaud for no reason.
Yeah.
Davina Duckworth. They switched brains, but nothing changed.
Well, because the characters seem so alike, I couldn't tell who they were because they're similar age, similar kind of very surface level people. So there you go.
Yeah, but you say that if they had developed the characters better, you wouldn't need to have these devices to tell you who they were.
Exactly.
All right, the Chicago Box. Yeah, the mental state of the realization would be insane.
If you were in a different person's body, you would see the world differently based on height, based on strength. You're not as strong. And the people weren't that much different. They were all adults of a certain age, like late 20s, early 30s. And they were all equally kind of very surface level, old college friends. And that's why I compared to bodies.
Yeah. And Chet's Mom 4, is this a folding laundry?
Yes, but you'll get confused about who's in whose body. It's definitely folding laundry.
That's the problem. You have to pay attention to figure out.
You have to pay attention. So, all right. So, that's going to wrap it up for us today, but I want to make an announcement. I have an announcement here. This is going to be a quick announcement. Award This, we have extended the deadline. Award This is going to be in January this year. We're moving the calendar to I think the third weekend in January. The exact date will be announced when tickets go on sale. Tickets will go on sale in November. We have extended the deadline a little bit because I had a lot of filmmakers reach out to me, say they wanted to submit. We have extended the deadline for Award This to October 11th. So October 11th is the extended date. Alan and I are still working out, and we will announce the nominees in the middle of October. You will know who are the nominees for the next Award This. I am so excited about our show. It's amazing. I hope you buy tickets and join us at the Frida Cinema. So it will be in January. I think it'll be right after the CCA kicking off award season. I'm excited for it. Go to awardthis.com. Filmmakers, you've got an extra week to submit your movie. I listen to my audience. So I want to say that. And then also support our work. Go to shop.filmthreat.com and pick up. I got this. It's the Batman inspired Film Threat shirt. Alan, are you going to wear a Film Threat shirt to LA Comic-Con? Oh, that's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
Flash Gordon.
The only thing about it is I love these shirts. They feel so good and I sweat a lot.
Yeah, that's
why I hate wearing them out in public.
Is one of my favorites. I love that shirt. Looking at all the shirts, there's a bunch I don't have. So there you go.
I'm going to place another order soon.
Pick your size, pick your color, pick your design, pick up a shirt, and there you go. We will be back next week. Monday is Versus. We're going to get into some stuff on Monday with Versus because something happened. I'll tee up Versus for next week. I had to do it. Go to my personal Twitter account here where we're live.
I know that was us.
Okay. You're just now figuring this out. As I've stated previously, turning Star Wars from a boy brand into a girl brand will prove to be the costliest decision in movie history. Is Disney bad at Star Wars? An analysis from the Hollywood Reporter. We will read that story on Versus on Monday. We're going to get everyone to chime in with opinions. I am really looking forward to Versus on Monday. Alan, what do you have coming up? I'm going to see you in a few hours.
Yes, I'll be at LA Comic-Con, and we are seeing The Apprentice on Saturday.
We'll talk about it next week. And we'll be at LA Comic-Con, so look for Alan and I. Batman Crocs are coming out on, I guess I'm wearing them. I'll do a video. Because I want to prove it. I want to prove it to all of you. I'm doing a video. All right. And we'll be there. Maybe we'll do some video. Should we go live from LA Comic-Con?
We could do that.
Can we do that?
No, we got to figure that out because we got to leave midway through on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, we'll do it. We can do it Saturday morning. Not a big deal. Atomic Lori. Just,
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
Just keep your whole Saturday open.
Yeah.
Don't plan anything tomorrow.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
And then we'll let you know at the last minute when we're going to go.
Last member chat here, JTPRX member for 24 months. Have a great weekend, y'all, and send your thoughts to the victims of Helene.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the government doesn't care about them.
Yeah, for sure. That situation is so disgusting to me. I'm like, just throw up Ukraine flags all over the devastation. It is disgusting how people have been treated. Our response, the government response, our tax dollars.
Yeah,
I want my tax dollars to help those people.
Oh, and the fact that FEMA is running out of money right now, and the reason why they're running out of money, it will just throw you insane.
Yeah, it's very, very sad. So yeah, so our thoughts go out to all those people. Any way to directly help, do that. And thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth, the Chicago Box. Thank you, Leo Cody, for our AI videos. Atomic Lori for hanging out, doing amazing, and Glenn Nuccio, who just moved. So there you go. And Sons and Shadows gifted 1 Film Threat membership. Thank you for that. But that's it for us. We will see you Monday with Versus. I'll see you this weekend at LA Comic-Con.
But he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please.
Why would you, Alan, be trying to talk over me there? So, okay, Alan.
Let's get out of here.